Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. Here's your hosts, Drew and Dex.
And we back after a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
We're busy.
It's not even a hiatus. We've established that.
We've established we just do this.
We do this when we can.
When we feel like it.
Yeah. Regularity. Speaking of being regular, and I know we've got a couple listeners that don't appreciate the poop talk. So
sorry. Skip ahead.
Disclaimer, yeah, skip ahead to 7 minutes. This is the first time I've been clean this weekend.
You've been covered in a lot of poopy?
I've been covered in a ton of poopy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my kids.
You were telling me the story upstairs.
Well, actually, so I told you the story of my youngest, and as I was telling you that, I forgot about like my Friday night adventure. I've had two. I've had dual.
Oh my god.
Dual duties. Yeah. So this morning, my daughter woke up nice and early and took her pants off, took her diaper off, which was filled with poop, and was like, I'm going to do some finger painting. She went full poopy Tony. Like she must have thought she was like, I don't know.
That's a throwback.
Like she thought I was going to come in and be like, whoa, sick artwork. Yeah. Just like rinsed her pillow, rinsed her bed sheets, her blanket. I had to wash. And like, fuck man, I'm the worst husband. I don't do a lot of washing, you know, like
I don't do any laundry. Well, I occasionally, but Alicia always gives me shit because I'll do the laundry, but I won't fold it.
So like if you're not going to go all the way, just don't even bother.
She's like, no, you did the easy part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just put it in the machine. No, I get that too. So like I'm not even really well versed on like what settings, temperature, which of the soaps we have
For
different
this
soaps.
heavy duty.
Yeah, this is like heavy DOODY. But I had to wash stuffed animals.
Ooh, those are tough too.
Yeah, I'm like outside banging dinosaur stuffies together to get like the big clumps of shit off, and then I'm just putting them in the washer. Oh my god. No, on Friday, kids again, they clogged the main floor toilet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What are you feeding them?
I don't know if this was straight poop. Like I don't know if this was like a 9 billiard ball.
They threw some toys in there or something.
I might have thrown a wipe. I might have contributed to it, like the non-flushables, but I also bought the nice toilet paper. You know, like the really pillow
like
soft stuff.
The 4-ply.
Yeah, you just use it like your regular cheap stuff.
But you don't need that much.
You don't need that much. It's higher
Have
quality.
you not seen the commercials? You need 2 squares.
The
bears.
I've seen a million of the commercials. They even have the 2 rolls side by side. They're like, this much equals this much. No, I just like a big pillowy cushion, and I guess that's my kids do too.
I mean, can't blame them.
So the toilet's clogged, and it's gross, and it's a mess, and I got the kids watching a show, and I'm trying to unclog this thing. And it's a blue job. I'm good at it. I've unclogged a few toilets in my day. You know, we got this like really old plunger, and it's like it's lost its elasticity. It's lost its bounce back.
Okay.
You know, so I'm trying to get this figured out, and I push it in, and it doesn't unpush. It just like stays condensed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Am I painting the
like
picture? I've got the plunger in the hole. I don't want to be too vivid. I mean, I'm being pretty vivid for our listeners, but I'm trying to unclog this toilet. I push the plunger down. It like condenses and then doesn't uncondense.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck in position A.
You know, and I know what's coming. I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I try to like slowly let it come out
break that
underneath
seal
the water?
somehow.
Got to break the seal somehow. So I'm like just gingerly moving it around. Sure enough, this thing like pops open and just sprays me. Backwash. like a truck through a puddle just hits me. And like I'd been battling this thing for a while, so I'd made some soup, you know, like it was and I'm covered in poop. Yeah, I've had a poopy weekend.
Your story, and then we'll get off the poopy, I promise. This is not the poopy episode. Your story reminds me, so in grade 9, we went to Cuba. There was like this trip where you could go on, you know, in OJ.
It's a floating island of poop.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I was sharing a room with Brad, and we were having 2 different bowel problems down there adjusting to the food. I was like backed up, like taking Pringle can size shits. And Brad was just like, you know, just liquid. Anyway,
you're the big wave and he's the high frequency wave.
Yeah. And so I went, and unbeknownst to me, I'd clogged the toilet. Because there's like no water pressure in Cuba. It was not getting, it got this thing down, but like not down, if you know what I'm saying. And then Brad went, and toilet looks normal. So he's like thinking everything's fine. So he goes, and then the water starts rising. It's not going down. And so we're like, oh, and it's
such a panic. Okay.
Oh yeah, that is like the worst thing.
People listening, they're like, my father-in-law's already turned off the episode. He's already like, fuck, you told me no more poop talk, you fucking liar. Yeah, so he's already gone. But if anyone's still here, that fear of like, is the water
when
gonna
is it going to stop?
Yeah. Oh, so much anxiety.
And so we went out, and there was actually like a maid in the hallway with her cart, and we're like, she speaks Spanish. So we're like trying to, it's not a resort. Like when we went down there, it's like
when you said maid, I was like medically assisted dying.
Yeah.
This toilet's clogged
Housekeeper
so bad.
was a better term. I couldn't think of it in the moment. But we were staying at like an actual hotel where like other Cubans would stay. It was like a 2-star like Motel 6. It was an educational trip, not we're going to Veradero where the nice resorts are, right? So we're trying to ask her in English for a plunger, and she's like not understanding. So she finally understood. We're like poo in water, agua rising. No bueno. And so she gives us this plunger. Well, it's not your normal plunger. It's like literally maybe the handle on it is like 1.5 feet long. And so we go in there.
You're close to the action.
When you finally got it like plunged and built that suction, your fingertip, there was like 1/2 inch of handle remaining out of the water. So we're like holding it with our fingertips, and of course you can't get any like actual pressure on it when you're basically using 2 fingers. And it must, and our buddy that was on the trip, Jimmy, he videotaped the whole thing, like because that
as
was
you
important.
do.
Yeah. It was very funny at the time. But like we worked on this thing, I want to say for at least an hour, just like trying to, and finally when we got it was like, yes, and like handed back this lady, this like fully soaked, dripping wet shit cup. Oh. Like we washed it off, but it was like clearly it had been submerged like right up to the end of this. Anyway, okay.
Okay, here's a question. How do plungers work? Now, I have an idea.
I think the idea, as we said, it's to build suction, and it's really just to try and create some movement in there so that it can hopefully dislodge. But like if you have a really bad clog, a plunger's not going to work.
So are you pushing air down there, or is it water? You're like increasing the pressure, hoping something's back and forth.
I think you're creating pressure to try and actually pull air from the pipes up towards the water, so that when you release it, the pressure of the water will push, and eventually that action is going. I don't know. But I think that's the physics of it, is you're trying to create negative pressure so that the air is coming up and then the water's going to push down.
Anyone who listens who's a plumber, send us a quick email.
Hopefully your father-in-law did not stop listening, because he would be the one that would like actually know the answer to that question.
Oh, and it's his home, so he's also gonna if he's listening, he's gonna start blowing me up, being like, "Do we have a cloth? Like, did you buy liquid plumber? Did you get out the snake? Do we have a problem?"
You're not supposed to use liquid plumber or Drano.
What?
It'll fuck up your pipes if you use it enough. Yeah, Don't use that.
That's a conspiracy theory.
No, it's real. Go ask any plumber; they'll tell you not to get a drain snake or call a plumber or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
It's bad for the pipes.
Well, think about it. It dissolves everything. So eventually you put that down your pipes enough. Like using it once probably won't do anything. But if you're regularly using that, you're going to fuck up your pipes, especially if you got like plastic connectors and stuff. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Okay. And don't put...
We use Drano in our house sometimes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like whatever.
Don't put baking grease down there.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Okay. What about Coca-Cola down the pipes?
That's probably not bad.
I would assume it doesn't do anything. That was a thing.
People always be like, look, we left a tooth in Coca-Cola for a week and look what happened. And it's like, well, yeah, like, but when would your teeth ever be fully submerged in Coke for a week?
Yours got to be close.
They got to be close. My wife and I had that conversation, actually. She was like, you drinking too much Coke. I was like, I have 2 a day. And she's like, that's way too much Coke.
It's Coke Zero.
It's Coke Zero. Oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm not having calories. And she's like, yeah, but like all the acidity and the artificial sweeteners. And I was like, that's like the least bad thing I'm putting in my body on a daily basis.
Yeah, you stop drinking Drano.
Yeah.
That's bad for you.
I still like, I miss the taste, but anyway.
Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. I'm Drew.
And I'm Dex.
All right.
Been a while.
Lots of good things have happened. You are ripping it up. One of the things that, we talk about the frequency in which we record. It's not like things aren't happening, whether it's life-based, engaged in fatherhood as the two of us are. family things and work things, which we'll talk about later. But in terms of the comedy, like you've been a busy man. You've been a busy boy.
I feel like I'm hitting a bit of an inflection point.
Yeah.
And like I have to say, so I've been trying to get on the Laugh Shop, and the guy that runs it, James, he was like, "Hey, I'd really love if you would come out to some of our workshops and not just like go on stage." And I was like, it's kind of hard for me to get there for like five just before 6 o'clock every workday, or on Wednesdays on a work day. But I was like, I'll come out, and actually, so they get the headliner that night to kind of host it, and you get to ask them questions, and it was super valuable. The guy that did it, Ben Boss, he's out of Calgary, but he's touring. I follow him on Instagram now. He's out in BC this week. He's a guy that's kind of, as he said, he still has a day job, but on the weekends he's making really good money doing comedy and touring around Canada, or Western Canada for sure. And he was awesome, and it was, I don't want to sound like cheesy or anything, but it was inspirational to see this guy who's like, looks like a normal dude, works a job in Calgary, right? But he's like making some money on comedy, and he's very funny. I encourage everybody to go follow him. And I was like, man, like I need to just start like kind of making some connections, because he talked about how he kind of like grew his career a little bit. Like he's like, I came from Saskatchewan, had no connections here, started doing my own shows, like just making as many connections as I could, trying to find people that would take me along with them. Now I get to take some smaller comedians along with me when I'm on tour.
He's got that lived experience.
Exactly.
And it mirrors what you want to accomplish. This is also a tune change, not to bust you, but I'm so happy to hear you say like you had value. You're saying you were inspired by it. This is amazing, because if you remember initially,
I didn't like feel. Okay, here's the thing.
Why don't you come to a workshop and you're like, I've been doing this.
I've been doing this for two and a half years.
For 2.5 years. You guys could. I've already been on stage at the Laugh Shop several times. Fuck you.
I didn't like the and I'll say this, he could word it better. I didn't like the gatekeepy aspect of it, where it's like, well, no, you've got to come attend.
If you want time, you got to come to a workshop. Yeah,
and there is a lot of value in the workshops, and I feel like maybe he could lead with that a little more, because it just sounds like it's like an extra thing, and it is. You got to go into Calgary right after work. Like I remember that first time I went. I've actually been to two. But the first time I went, I like literally finished work in High River that day, and I ripped home, like dropped my stuff off, got back in the car, ripped to Calgary, just made it on time. But it was valuable. And then I went to the one this past week. But anyway, then we in between those two, we had a show at Hubtown. It was the first Looney Bin show, and that was awesome. And there's some really great comedians that came out, like really good turnout of, I would say, established comedians from Calgary, who are not pros, but they've been doing it a bit, and they're really funny. And then I closed out that show. I was, when I see some of these more established people that maybe I've seen at Laugh Shop and stuff, I'm like, oh, like I'm probably not closing the show. And Jeff was like, no, you're closing the show. Like you won the last show. Like, and I went up and I felt like I killed it. I did really well. Maybe not killed it, but did really well. And afterwards, this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, I'm not going to say the company name just because I still got to sign a deal with them and stuff. But he was like, hey, we've got our company Christmas party coming up, and like you're hilarious. And we had a comedian last year who charged us an exorbitant amount of money and like did a pretty poor job. He's like, you're exponentially funnier than him. We'd love if you'd do our Christmas party.
A paid gig.
Paid gig.
Came and seeked. What's the past tense? Sought. Nice, thank you. Yeah. Teaching me. Sought you out and said, you're so great, I want you to come do this for me. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
came up afterwards, and
that
I was
must
like,
have been such extreme validation, honestly.
Yeah. Well, and I was like, I remember Ben at this workshop talking about how like corporate gigs are like where you make your money, right? He's like, they will pay way more than what you'll get on a weekend gig at a club. And I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy. Like 3 days later, I've been offered my first corporate gig.
This workshop, I gotta go.
I was like, holy shit. And so I was like, well, like if you want, like, because I am still a newer comedian, I can maybe find a headliner and I could open for them. Like I was immediately thinking maybe I'll reach out to Ben and see if he's got something that weekend or whatever. And they're like, no, we want you to do it. I was like, oh, crazy. So that was really exciting. And then there was a post up just this past week on the Calgary comedy page. And it's just like comedians that share shows and stuff. And somebody was looking for somebody to join the show in High River at the Vinyl Cafe and Lounge. And it's a paid opportunity. So I like sent them my Instagram. Here's some clips. Let me know. I'm relatively local. I can get some people out, and immediately got back. It was like, yeah, you're on the show. I was like, oh, okay. So like within the span of a few weeks, I've got 2 paid gigs lined up. And it's just like, it feels like I said, an inflection point. It feels like a few things have happened.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
We did it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. This is great for us. I'll have to send you my my financials, my percentage. But I am so proud of you. I really am. And motivating, right? Like you're now not just doing it as a passion thing. When you said inspiration, you're like, no, I could be that weekend guy. This could be potentially a source of income while I'm growing this.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm assuming that has got you really thinking about it, sitting down and writing a lot of stuff.
It's got my gears turning. You know, I also, when we were at the last Hubtown show, which by the way, okay, so we've talked about these shows. Next Hubtown show is on October 11th. So this coming weekend.
Yep.
If anybody wants to come out to the Looney Bin. And then October 18th is the show at Vinyl Cafe and Lounge. They got tickets there, or you can buy them online. And my story, maybe we'll throw it up on our story or whatever. But yeah, you can buy some tickets there. So anyway,
I want to try to come to both. I haven't been getting out.
That's all right.
That's my
I have
fucking
plenty of support,
plan.
and I always feel weird sometimes going to my friends being like, hey, buy some tickets to watch me do comedy because you don't hang out with me enough. Like, hear all my stupid jokes in the first place.
Yeah, but you got to support it, man.
Yeah. But it is a weird vibe sometimes to be like, hey, guys. Like when I dropped in our group chat, our friends chat, it's like, hey, like, buy tickets for me.
I did love that started a cascade of people being
just like
hey, well, also this is happening, and also this is happening. They were like, hey, stop it. Yeah. I was doing this. I was trying to leverage my friendship to get you guys out. No one wants to do this other stuff.
But so somebody came up to me at the Hubtown show too, and they were like, you should start like producing some shows. They were like, you'd be really good at like getting people organized and producing some shows, and that would be a good opportunity to get more stage time. So that also got my gears turning. And Ben said the same thing. He's like, when I was trying to get time, it's like it's hard to get time. If you're not well known and people don't know that you can come out and kill it every night, you got to sometimes produce your own shows and get your friends on and build each other up. So that's another thing that's maybe down the line.
We talk about that all the time, you know, like, and we actually used to do that as kids. Like we'd have these bands, these terrible bands, and we wanted to play shows.
Rent out the train station.
Yeah, go to the train station, go to Elks Hall. We were putting on the show, and we got to fucking play, and it was amazing. Never really resulted in anything because we're pretty niche.
That's what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying, the time you get on stage, no matter what you're doing, is what's going to define if you actually get good at this or not.
Well, I've got a lot of time right now, so maybe this is the actual opportunity for us to go through and book something. I got to back it up. The Looney Bin. I had a question.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to the Looney Bin yet. I was there at the Showdown, and now the new format. People vote with their like actual cash.
Yeah. So they have like a whole bucket of loonies there, so you can come with $10.
That was my question because I was like, who the fuck has loonies? Like
that was my thing. I was like scrounging up loonies, and then
you guys are getting
Lisa
cigarette
was like,
butts and fucking buttons.
Yeah, no. Lisa was like, "Oh, we have like a bucket of loonies, so you can just give a $10 bill."
Okay,
and get
they've
loonies.
sourced the loonies. I was wondering,
and it's a good idea. Like you vote, but then I came home with like 26 loonies. I was like, "Oh fuck! Like what am I gonna do with all these loonies?"
Dude, start a jar.
Or I should have turned around and asked for like cash back, and then they could keep recycling those loonies. I didn't think of that, but I also I took in loonies and voted for other people, so now I'm paid up. I can go with more loonies next week, and because whatever, $26. I don't really. I was going to come with the trajectory of my life.
Do you remember the old coin wraps, like 50 pennies? I was going to drop a couple loggies in here. So, some of those are laying around.
Yeah.
Was anyone? And I mean, it's so funny. The deeper you get into this, the less willing you are to like shit talk, which is hilarious. And I think that's good. You're a professional. But just like, give me a wink, give me a look. Was there anyone with like no loonies? Were some empty buckies?
I think everybody got at least one loony because Jeff, the host, he's nicer than I am. He went up and to introduce it, he's like, I'm going to make sure everybody gets a head start, and he put a loony in everybody's bucket. So thanks to Jeff, everybody got at least one loony for sure.
That's nice.
And there were some great comedians, like some people that absolutely really deserving of getting some loonies. There was some people that weren't as good, and they're still learning their craft. That's fine, but they need to work on their bits a little bit. Their bit that they need to develop. Yeah. So anyway, I'll leave it there. But
2 shows coming up, 2 paid gigs.
Yeah.
And this hypothetical show that I'm in. We're going to organize.
I got a great idea for it. You want to like...
For like how to make money?
Well, yeah, partially that, but also like this show idea. Okay, so like remember as we were kids, we always had like names for Okotoks, like Smokatoks.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dope as hell. Still is.
So I was
Come to my garage, it's still
we do
fucking
this
Smokatokes.
we do this local show called Okajokes, which is also, and then like that's something we can do like volume 1, volume 2. If it works, like do another one a couple months down the line, like get the Elks Hall or something.
Fucking bringing it right back.
Oh yeah, that's the first spot I thought of was like, what's a place that you can rent out and like sell some tickets at, that has some capacity.
You get a liquor license pretty easily there.
Yeah. So, yeah,
because sober comedy, that's not a thing.
No, you gotta have a couple brewskis.
Yeah, you gotta get a couple brewskis. Get on stage.
Yeah,
Jim Jeffries.
Yeah. So lots of big things happening, and also, I mean, okay, let's zoom out from ourselves for a moment. A lot of things since that last episode have happened in the world. So I added our news stinger, like our news jingle, to the sound pad.
Okay.
Because I said I was going to do that in the last episode, and I did do it 15 minutes before you showed up.
I was like, you're so organized.
So here we go. Oh, I got to hold the button down. Fuck.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air.
Here is a news bulletin from the CBC Television News Service.
I'm Wolf Blitzer, and you're in the Situation Room.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Breaking news. Conservative podcaster and activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed. It's not funny.
Oh, fuck. All right. I can't wait to see where you're going with this one.
I'd just like to say, actually, I know we just laughed a lot.
I'm not okay.
Political violence isn't funny.
Yeah, and I'm not laughing about anything to do with that. I'm laughing that it even came up because when
it happened like a month ago.
But when it happened, we texted a lot. And we're like, oh yeah, we're doing this Kirk apocalypse absolute special, and then like the blowback, the rhetoric, our wives. There was a very strong message sent to us. They're like, you better not ever say a fucking thing about that. And that's kind of where we had left it. So, all right.
We're not going to make fun of it. It's not funny that somebody got killed. But it did lead into a lot of stuff. As you mentioned, a lot of people got in trouble for making jokes about it. So more breaking news.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air.
Here is a news bulletin from the CBC Television News Service.
I'm Wolf Blitzer, and you're in the Situation Room.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air.
Yeah.
For a Charlie Kirk. Well, it wasn't even really a Charlie Kirk joke. It was a clip of Donald Trump that apparently people didn't appreciate. They thought that he was trying to equate it to a MAGA shooter. He was trying to accuse it of being MAGA shooting MAGA. But also, I've got more breaking news.
Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air.
Here is a news bulletin from the CBC Television News Service.
I'm Wolf Blitzer, and you're in the Situation Room.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Jimmy Kimmel's back on the air.
He's back, baby.
He's back, baby. All right, so I know a lot of our listeners really rely on our show for their news, so I wanted to catch them up.
Yeah, get on
That's
Google.
the last time we're doing the breaking news bit. I promise.
You got me cry laughing over here. Yeah. We bring you the news 3 weeks ago.
I mean, if you haven't been following the news, you're like, when's the new Rad Dad episode going up? I need to know what's happening in the world. Now you know.
Yep, okay. Yeah, Kimmel's back. Did you watch the monologue?
I did, and I thought he did a good job of like being endearing and explaining himself without apologizing, because I don't think it was necessary for him to apologize. Because I don't think anything that he did was wrong. I think everybody was like very backs against the wall. Like, we can't joke about this, and I don't think he was making a joke about it. I think people just like, ultimately, I think he was making a joke about Trump, who seemed to be not taking it very seriously. And so I thought it was pretty endearing, his monologue. And then Yeah, I'm glad that he didn't say sorry. I'm glad that he didn't like bow down to that.
Stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
Had to address the controversy, obviously, and then made the appeal. I mean, it made the appeal to whichever side that you're on. Hey, we need to kind of like bring this down a level. We need to de-escalate,
Which is absolutely not what's been happening since.
No, of course not. But the message was there, and I thought, an impossible task to come back, and a stressful time for him.
And I mean, there's a lot of threats going. I mean, the big thing was basically like blatant threat from the FCC chief that they needed to get Kimmel off the air. ABC could lose their broadcast license. Like it was basically government threats, and that's why people are like, oh well, his ratings were dropping and they were losing money on him. It's like, well, no, it happened right after the government basically threatened to like remove their broadcast license.
I mean, it's blatant censorship,
blatant government censorship.
Yeah. Which is, and I liked what he said when he talked about what other countries that have had these lengthy negative histories when it comes to being able to say what you want to say. That's what people admire about the United States. It's what people think of when they think of the United States is this country of freedom. You're allowed to have a difference of opinion. You can subscribe to your own political ideology and not be persecuted. You are able to believe what you want to believe. You can be this type of religion, you can be this type of religion, you can be red, you can be blue, and we can all say what we want, and that's okay. And people wish they could do that, and it's so obvious that no, you can't do that because there are people fucking looking out for you now.
And it's not to like draw too many parallels, but like one of the first things that happened in Nazi Germany was that the press was absolutely put under the thumb of the government. Like if you were Jew, it's not like Hitler became Chancellor of Germany and Auschwitz was open the next day. Like there was a number of years, there was a number of events that had to occur before we got to this point of like the Holocaust as we know it now. There was, and yeah, like I said, one of the first things that happened was if you were Jewish, you were no longer allowed to be in the press. If you were not saying what the government wanted you to say, you lost your press license. Like they had licenses to be able to publish a newspaper, to be able to have a radio broadcast. And so when you see things like this, where it's like the FCC chair is coming out and saying, well, you made fun of my boy, my orange boy, and we're going to take away your license. Like that's like, okay, well that there's a lot of parallels here. And people say that it's alarmist almost to say that America is like trending towards Nazi style fascism, but they absolutely are. Like it's happening alarmingly quickly. And the first thing that always goes is the press, because if you can't talk about what's happening, if you can't say what's not approved by the government, then they can actually go and do the shit that they really want to do, like open concentration camps. And I'm not saying that is what the government wants to do in the United States. I'm saying that was the next step in Nazi Germany, TBD on the next steps in the United States.
Well, Alligator, Alcatraz, all those ICE detention centers, like that is happening, and the influence of what's not being said, much like in Nazi Germany, a lot of these things weren't explicit, until they became law, but it just, you were heavily influenced not to shop at someone's business if they were Jewish, right? Yep. Or you were afraid
and then eventually their businesses were taken away.
You're Jimmy Kimmel, you're afraid to say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And you've been doing it for years, but now you're going to get in trouble. Now it's life or death.
Yeah,
man.
So being politically active is important, and I know you see in front of me, I've got some flyers that have been dropped at my door for the local elections.
Yeah.
Nobody's threatening any cancellation of free speech, as far as I'm aware. But okay, I don't have a candidate to support in the Okotoks municipal election. I'm not here to actually even say the names of the people that dropped their things. Just a little bone to pick. And I was kind of getting into this with you before we start recording. I said, let's save it for the episode. A lot of these people, they just come, they drop their door knockers, they drop a flyer or whatever at the front door, and then they walk away. And also, all of them have walked across my lawn. Like, all of them go to my neighbor's house and then immediately just like hop down and go across my lawn.
You hate when people do stuff on your lawn.
Well, it's fucking annoying.
Or your neighbor's lawn.
Yeah. Well, it's like, honestly, I can see you on my doorbell camera.
I had to pee.
No, not you. Not you. You were out of view of my doorbell camera. But, it's like if you're running for town council, like some people find it annoying when you walk through their yard, right? So just take the extra 15 steps to go to the sidewalk and then come back up my driveway. Anyway, whatever. That's not a big deal. It sounds like I care. I don't fucking care. But my thing with these, they drop them off. And like, this is ultimately probably the most information I'm going to get about these candidates. Like I actually did go to their websites for the purpose of this bit. None of them have anything to fucking say. Like none of them have actual policy. I noticed the mayoral candidates do. So I'm not going to point fingers at the mayoral candidates, but these town councilor candidates, like this is a 6-sided brochure here. Lots of opportunity to share information, share what your platform is. Again, I'm not going to say this person by name. I'm sure she's very nice, valuable member of our community. She said fucking nothing on these 6 pages. She got these printed at Staples. Probably cost her a good penny. They're nice. She got nice pictures taken around Okotoks, you know. But her she's, first of all, she thinks that being a hairdresser has qualified, the conversation she's had as a hairdresser has qualified her to be in town council. I'm not shitting on hairdressers, but if that's your logic, anybody in a customer-facing service industry is qualified to be on town council. Like, actually, I would say the people working the front counter at the McDonald's are the most qualified because they see the most people.
Everyone. They see me twice a week.
Yeah, they saw me a couple times this week. So, first of all, don't like that. But like, priorities. Tell me if you agree with these, because I think they're all agreeable, but they say fucking nothing. Okay, vision and priorities. Keep life affordable.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that sounds great.
Yes, please.
Support families and seniors.
Seniors don't get enough support.
That's a hit right there. I have a family. I'm a member of a family. I would love the support. Stand up for small businesses. Obviously, I mean, small businesses are the lifeblood of our community. She wants to improve neighborhood safety and livability. Great. Wildlife and community harmony. I'm assuming she doesn't want the deer hunt that we've talked about previously. I think she wants us to. That was one that okay. And then open and accountable council, which again, I think more accountability, more transparency in our government institutions is important. Throughout the rest of this, I mean, there's several pages with all this text. She doesn't explain fucking how any of the keep life affordable. How do you plan to accomplish this? Right? Support families and seniors. How? And you go on her website, and the website is basically just this information on the brochure in electronic form. Because I thought maybe she expands on this on her website, but she fucking doesn't. She says you can drop her a line and she'll come for a conversation, bring coffee. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. There's 24 fucking candidates. I don't want everybody dropping by my house for a coffee chat. Just tell me how you plan to like okay, there's one mayoral candidate and he does have his platform up and he says he's going to freeze property taxes for 4 years. Sounds great. But how are you going to fucking pay for anything is my question of that. But at least he has like this is how I want families to catch up, so I'm freezing property taxes. She got nothing. Next one, next door knocker. Sorry, do you have any comments to add? Okay.
It's so funny because like we're holding these local would-be politicians to a higher standard than we are like holding our federal our world leaders.
Well, it starts at the grassroots level.
Like they're emulating what you've seen, and it's funny because I think this happens all the time. Is like here's what I'm running on. Here are my campaign promises. And they're not really based in anything. It's just kind of like what I think people want to hear. Yeah. Whether or not there is any way, any path forward to accomplish some of these things, but they're just nice to hear. It makes me think of like a high school election, like student council. Yeah. I remember doing that back in the day.
We're gonna have pizza every Thursday.
Yeah, or we're gonna put a Hawaiian punch in the fucking water fountains.
Yeah, there's no mechanism to make this happen, but it sounds great.
Less class, less homework, and kids are like, "Yo, I like that." And then when it comes down to it, it's like you get to choose which DJ we hire for the dance.
Yeah.
That's what power you actually have.
And you also have a $200 student council budget for the entire year.
Yeah, like they're like, wait,
we're gonna plant a fruit tree, right?
Yeah. So I think it's funny, and I do like the angle. Like let's shit on them a bit more, but I'm like, this is all politicians.
I mean, all of those things. Again, I really don't want to shit on her. She looks nice. I'm sure she is a nice person. So that's why I didn't want to say
Donald
her name.
Trump released the Epstein files. Wait, you found out I'm in them?
Files? At least that was like an actual like point that you can hold them to account, right? Okay, this one, it's a door hanger, so it's not a full flyer. So I did go to their Facebook page, but again, not a lot of information.
This is my favorite one.
This is my favorite one because it's just It's a numbered list. So it's a person's name for town councilor. It's a numbered list, and it's just slogans. Like it's like they couldn't settle on one slogan
Smoke
for
them
their
if you
campaign.
got them.
So slogan 1: your voice, your town, your future. Great slogan.
Yep.
Slogan 2: strong roots, bright future. Let's grow Okotoks together.
This guy's all about the future.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's. He does love the word future. Number 3: smart growth, strong community, secure future.
Fucking the future's looking up. The future's looking like it's got a lot.
This
of
guy doesn't
slogans.
want to dwell on the past.
No.
He's looking forward. I
We're
like
moving
him.
ahead.
Number 4: for people, for business, for Okotoks. No mention of the future in that one. Protecting what we love, building what we need. So again, I would say 5 great slogans for any campaign. Probably should have settled on one.
Banger slogans. Yep.
Again, all of them say fucking nothing. All of these are agreeable. Any candidate, you could be like, you know, protecting what we love, building what we need. That sounds great. But what if in the background he means like, actually, I want to build a concentration camp for all the deer in town. And now if he came out and
said that, he's got my vote.
But you know, now he's in complete. They're butting heads in council chambers with the previous one that said wildlife and community harmony.
Yeah,
Unless that also means that she wants a concentration camp for the town deer. I don't know. I don't know.
Listen, counselors, if you want my vote, and you do, trust me, first person to come out and be like, I'm going to blow every mule deer off the fucking map. Day one, the cull. We're even going to make firearms legal within town limits expressly. You know, don't be out there murdering because we like safety in our communities for the future. But if you're murdering deer specifically, like anyone can do it. Just go choke one out in your fucking front yard.
You got
He'll catch it on his ring.
You got your mayoral candidate Colin. He wants to freeze property taxes. Sounds great on the surface. Leaves no money to hire a clandestine deer killing force.
Yeah.
The candidate that comes out and says they actually want to increase property taxes so that they can hire Deer Team 6.
Also, okay, yeah.
That's the one I'm voting for. I don't care how much my property taxes go up. If there's just guys in fucking all black like ICE agents just like ganking deer in the middle of the fucking street. That's what I want.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about any of the other stuff.
No.
Like water infrastructure, like the MD building and like taxing our water supplies. We have to like shut down every road in Okotoks and you can't drive anywhere. And there's just these massive
And there's only 2
projects.
roads through Okotoks.
Yeah. Like, I don't care. That's fine. That's
Kennedy
cool.
was late for dance because of that the other day, and I was pretty choked.
That's out of hand. Yeah. And the construction. I don't know. Probably not. We need all that water.
We do. But
Yeah.
it was...
Blow those fucking deer up.
Anyway, okay, so
So who are you voting for? Those guys, obviously.
like both of them, I guess they at least took the time to print some shit and put it on my door. I don't know. But like that's the thing is like I wanted to be well researched, and I realized as I'm going through this, and then I went and looked at some other candidates. Again, other than the mayoral candidates, nobody has actually just like said this is what like specifically how I would like to accomplish my goals in council.
Do people care about that though?
I don't think they fucking do. I think honestly, when you go around and you look at the signs, you just realize who has the most friends in town.
Yeah.
Because I'm not putting like the only time I put a sign on my lawn is if like you were running. I'd be like, yeah,
You would put a sign for
I'd put
me?
a Drew Hoover sign on my lawn. Yeah, no questions asked.
Hell yeah.
I'll put one on my neighbor's lawn
It's
too.
just me fucking guillotined with deer. Just got his neck bent. His fucking trachea is
so
just around my
you bring up a great
forearms.
point. Like, do you even fucking care? Like, I think maybe obviously it's too late now, but next municipal election, you and I run as like just candidates to make a mockery of the entire system. And it's just like
I'm
us,
into that.
us talking about like a giant deer call. Like all of our posters are like deer with like, you know, crosshairs. Yeah.
I've often thought if teaching doesn't pan out, and who knows if it will, honestly.
Stay tuned for that.
That's part 2 of this episode, but that I would just run for the board of trustees. They literally like hand me my ticket and be like, you're done. And then be like, all right, see you in the fall. I'm running this shit. Everything you got to do, your calendar, I got to approve it. I'm making 30,000 smackers a year to be the top dog. And I wouldn't be the guy being like, here's what I think schools need. I'd be like, remember me from high school?
Yeah. So that's what I think when I go around. Like I see this guy, I forget his first name.
I
His last
remember
name,
Drew. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, his last name is Nix. And he's got so many signs. And all I think is like, obviously, this guy's a lot of friends. That's what I think when I see. And so I'm like, that immediately in my mind makes him more likable to me, because I'm like, if he can maintain enough friendships to have like this many people put his sign on their lawn, he's probably going to be decent in council. Like, I don't know.
Didn't you or Zilla get on the ballot for like most influential people in Okotoks?
Brad did.
Yeah.
And but it was a campaign run by me, much to Brad's chagrin. He was like pretty mad about it, because I was like,
God.
and it was like when Facebook was like just getting started, right?
The amount
like,
of things I've done that Brad has been mad at, or like other friends have been
Brad-
like, I didn't like that. I mean, the list is so fucking long.
Brad, if running, would run to shut down Facebook.
Oh,
But like, so we had a group, and of course, like back then, it was on Facebook. It was all kids. Like, this was before like your mom and your grandma got on Facebook. It was like university and high school students, and we were in high school, and I created a group, and through that, I think I didn't learn a lesson in that moment, but like hindsight, I realized something is that you can organize exceptionally well through social media. And so I had like all my friends, because you could go to the Western Wheel website and vote every day. I was like sending reminders like, hey guys, don't forget, everybody in Foothills Composite was in this group. We were sending it to everybody. I was like, don't forget to go vote. Don't forget to go vote for Brad as the most, or what was it, best citizen in Foothills. And he came second to Marg.
no, Marg is the number
Mark
one.
is the number one citizen,
I'm
but
glad.
for Brad to be second, and like his dad won like best politician, and so like obviously a moment of pride for their family. But Brad also attended the awards to collect his second place as the best citizen in Okotoks, and like I the way he tells me the story, I don't know if this is true, but like his dad was like, well, if your fucking friends are gonna like play jokes, like you got to come accept it, like.
Oh,
Like dragged him down there to like accept it. Yeah.
now I wish he would have won.
I don't know though. That would have like everybody loves Mark.
This is like the Bodie McBoatface. Like they've commissioned a new vessel. What should we name it?
Just made a mockery of the whole thing.
Dude, we did that at school. Haven't told you the story? We wanted to redo our logo,
Yeah.
and they made it was like a grotesquely fat horse, so fat that its legs weren't on the ground, it was just its belly. And then you got to vote for the slogan and vote for the new logo, and the kids like unanimously picked this fucking fat horse. And then the slogan they voted for was bigger, and then in capitals, is better. And then obviously the staff was like, well, no.
We have to shut this. Actually, democracy doesn't work.
Yeah, that's not gonna fucking happen. Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, man, make a mockery of the whole thing. The whole thing's silly, and I don't think people are informed enough or care enough or even realize the types of decisions that are made.
But I would say that this. I'm not going to shit on people for not being informed or not being engaged, because I think even if you did want to be engaged, no more than your neighbor who has taken 0 minutes to be engaged. Right? Like if you want to go on all of these candidates' websites, you will learn nothing more about them other than they have nice things to say that everyone agrees with. Doesn't matter your political leanings or anything. We can all agree with strong roots, bright future. Let's grow Okotoks together. Like, yeah, that sounds great. Everybody agrees with that. What does that mean? Nothing.
That's like the Donald Trump. He's running a grift operation. Yeah. He's an absolute criminal. And he has nothing, no acumen, no actual ability to hold that position in office, to be the commander in chief of like arguably the most powerful nation in the world. Who knows right now? But like he just was saying shit people liked.
Yeah.
He was just like, it's cool to be racist. You can get your fucking hoods back out. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do shit about guns. The do nothing Dems want to come and take your fucking rifle away. Not me. I'm cool.
Yeah. There was, up until a few years ago, when it obviously has the connotations that it has now, if you were any candidate and you said, make America great again, obviously.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We all want that.
America's not great right now.
We all want America to be great.
I need more AR-15s, 100%.
Yeah. It's like, but what is the background? Can we go one layer deeper from make America great again? How?
It totally worked.
How?
If we're gonna run next year, we have to just make me a promise. We're just gonna run on lies and
obviously,
and just make a mockery of the whole thing.
We will both get elected to council because we've both grown up in town. We have so many friends that are just going to go to that voting booth and see our names and be like, oh yeah, they're funny.
See, you say that, but here's the thing with our friend group is that they're all very intelligent people, and not to toot my own horn, like my value is not based on the people. Actually, it is. Fuck it. I'll dial it back.
The company you keep definitely defines who you are to a degree.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that is what I'm trying to say. These guys that we hang out with, they're upstanding citizens. They're very, very well read and good people. And I know for a fact that we might be able to sit and have a beer and laugh and joke about how I'm running in an election. But when push comes to shove and they're actually going to a ballot, the majority of them would be like, I would never vote for Drew.
Really?
I've seen what he's done to my lawn. I've seen what he's done to my basement.
I can convince them to spend their hard-earned money to go see me do comedy. I feel like I can convince them to vote for me.
Think they're just gonna
for a meaningless position?
Oh man, yeah. I don't know.
Remember when I won the vote for that job for Service Credit Union?
Yes.
First of all, bad idea on Service's part to have a literal job in their marketing department.
They didn't vet you.
They didn't vet me very well, though.
Dude, I remember we weren't hanging out a lot at that point in time. We were living in different spots, doing different things. And you won, and they had put out this video about like you getting surprised, and your wife, your at that time girlfriend, was in it. They interviewed her about how excited you were going to be, and this big surprise. And like I remember watching that and being like, they don't fucking know him, like they don't know Dex. That's not Dex.
He's a piece of shit.
That's not fucking.
They
Dex
found that out. They found that out actually rather quickly that was a horrible hire. But it was so funny to basically make it a popularity contest for like a job with like the credit union in Alberta. They've swallowed up like every credit union in the province.
Yeah.
And that was my first job. My first big boy job out of university was in their marketing department that I was elected to by the fucking people of Alberta. And it went so incredibly poorly.
You did a really poor job.
I did a terrible job at that job. and they realized that I did not share like the same like values as like what they would hope for like a public facing spokesperson.
What were you supposed to do? Weren't you supposed to like make little tidbits about like being financially smart and savvy?
Yeah, so like it was really like a wing of their marketing department that was geared towards like younger people, like 18 to 25. And it was really for like basic personal finance advice. So like I would write a blog every day. I would do one video a week, like a vlog or whatever, like really low budget video. And I would like go to events. I remember if they sponsored an event at a university, I'd be there to like do like a little rah. Yeah, and it was actually a fun job. But like eventually what I realized, because this was like back before remote work was like really popular. What I realized was the maturity level I had at that time was not conducive to somebody working remotely. And so I'd wake up and like bang out like the fucking shittiest personal finance blog you've ever seen at like 8 a.m., be done my day's work at like 9, and I would smoke weed and play Call of Duty the rest of the day. Like that was how I handled that job.
Oh man, even as like a fully fledged adult during the COVID, like we were really trying to hold it together and like make some sort of educational experience that was going to improve understanding for young people. Like it was a massive effort, but at the root of it, they had me teaching online phys ed. Just think about that, online phys ed to a group of kids that less than 5% were signing on.
Yeah.
And so like what was keeping me there was just like, my degree of professionalism. I had to get up, I had to do it. But like realistically, I was talking to no one.
Yeah.
About nothing.
And you effectively, if it's online phys ed, you're almost like assigning them something that they have to go do in their own time.
Yeah.
Because there's limited amounts of phys ed you can do on a Zoom call.
Yeah, they're not gonna.
Dare I say none?
Zero. And like I said, you'd sign on, and you'd have like 4 or 5 kids, real keeners. Like, oh, what are we doing today, Mr. Hoover? And I was like, I posted a video. I posted a video of me doing the Sally Up challenge. Go see if you can do it.
Yeah.
And it kind of eroded to the point where it was like, I can't hold myself to a higher standard, and I'm not going to do this. And we ended up fucking not doing it. So I can't imagine being like a college age student and just trying to find like intrinsic motivation to do a good job that you care nothing about and that you probably shouldn't have gotten in the first place. Yeah. I mean, that's not on you. That's on them.
I was 21 years old when I got that. I had just finished university.
Any job ever, forget like being online, like any job ever back in the day, like even when your boss wasn't there,
It was a license to fuck around.
Dude, I worked at Source for Sports for years, and I was a really good employee. And when my bosses were around and when it was time to sell things, I really excelled at that job because I could just talk to people. You know, I'm as qualified as that town councilor. People come in and would be town councilor.
That could be on your brochure.
You know, I had millions of conversations about skates and sticks. You know, I know what the people want. But like the second I got like any autonomy, I was like climbing onto the second floor, finding a goalie-sized bag and zipping myself in it so I could sleep. You know, setting up water bottle targets so I could shoot pucks around and just, you know, create games. It was crazy. It was nuts. Yeah. You know, I wasn't able to rein myself in just because people weren't looking at me. And so being online, yeah,
it's hard to find that internal motivation, especially if you don't care about it in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. We really wanted to talk about one thing. We've had some great conversations, but it is Teacher Strike Eve.
It is Teacher Strike Eve.
Yeah.
12:01, and no one's blinking.
No. We were very lucky. I don't think I told you this since I last saw you. We were really lucky that we got Kennedy into the day home that Kaylee goes to.
Oh, no way.
And they're going to charge us the $30 a day that the government's going to give us. So we are very fortunate as a family that we have managed to get into this with minimal life disruption. And I am acutely aware that there are a ton of families in this province that are not that fortunate, and they are going to be taking days off work. They are going to be potentially hiring tutors. Like I think about, you know, my daughter's in grade 2. Realistically, if she misses a few weeks of school, she's going to be fine in the grand scheme of things. I think about kids with diploma exams, kids that are trying to get scholarships maybe for their sports, that want to take it to the next level and go to university. I think about these young people that are unfortunately the victims of this government that refuses to negotiate in good faith.
Well, and you touched on something there, this idea that, you know, and it is one of the arguments coming out. You know, can't we all just agree? Can't we all just agree that kids are important and that children are the future? And what we're doing with this strike is we're disrupting the continuity of learning, and we're taking away from the ability of these young people to actually go in and have a fulfilling experience at school and learn new things. But what we're saying is that wasn't happening. That's currently not happening.
Yeah.
You know, you are better off to just go to day home. Let this enterprising person who's like, oh, I'm going to take a few more bodies, get this $30 a day. That's great. But what was happening prior to the strike was not quality, was not education. We weren't doing or unable to do for children what we should be doing. It hasn't been our job for years. And there's such a huge disconnect between what the government is saying and even what the union is saying and what teachers' lived experiences in classrooms are and what children's experiences in classrooms are. Like, it's very, very, very bizarre to read both sides. The rhetoric is heating up, to read both sides, the arguments for and against. But like, what isn't coming out is just what had been happening in schools and what kids were actually going through day to day. And what it wasn't was quality education like we received in a public system.
Yeah. And I will say, you know, we joke.
That's awesome, Kennedy. That's awesome, Kennedy's got a place to go. Because you're right. There's a ton of people that tomorrow they're fucked. Yeah. They're completely fucked.
But you know what? That's part of that's a feature, not a bug. Like, you need to put some fire under the voting public to say, like, the people that you've put in power are, you know, they came back to the bargaining table and offered the same shit plus a COVID shot that half the province doesn't want anyway. Like, that's an extra. Effectively, you've offered an extra $100.
Oh, and then Daniel Smith's coming out and saying, like, call off your strike, like, do the right thing. We can still come back to the table. Tell us what you really need. We gave them 72-hour notice for another 4 weeks. Like, we have been trying to get this deal done, and it's not adequate. What they're offering to public school families, and obviously Catholic school families, which is still technically public education, is not enough. It will not move the needle. It is a stopgap. It won't fix the types of problems we're facing. And so it's at that point. You know, we talked about it, I think, a couple episodes ago, and I'd shared some stories, and you'd shared some, you know, your experience going in and
Volunteering. Yep.
And I said, I was like, we are living through the collapse of the public education system. That hasn't changed. That's very much ongoing.
Yeah.
So what's needed to correct that ship? It's a monumental effort, and it's going to be a very expensive fix, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I was amazed by a few things that again, this is like me on the outside. Obviously, I'm connected to this. I have a child in the school system. My best friend is a teacher. I have other friends that are teachers. What I learned is this $30 a day that they're giving us is twice the per student funding in Alberta for schools.
More than twice, yeah.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about a potential increase to teacher pay of, what was it, 12%? Is that what they're proposing?
And let's talk facts. Let's make sure we're not engaging in what I'm accusing the government of doing, and that's not being forthcoming. It was 12% over 4 years.
Right.
Retroactive, because we've been working with a expired collective bargaining agreement as of 2024. So last year we didn't have an agreement, and we're in our second year now of not having an agreement. So it would have started last year, so 3% year over year, starting retroactively last year until a 12% increase, but then also a unified grid. And so a unified grid right now, from division to division across the province, the grid for teacher compensation is not uniform.
Right.
And so what would happen in some divisions is teachers could see as much as 17%.
Okay.
So, which is substantial.
But so the point I was making is, let's say 17% on the high end over 4 years.
Yeah. What
What they've effectively done with this $30 a day is they've increased current funding by 100%.
Yeah.
and so we're talking about 17% on the very highest end. These outlier scenarios where the grid maybe wasn't aligned with the rest of the province. These outlier scenarios, 17% over 4 years on the highest, and they're giving 100% increase to per student funding during this strike period. So it's like, well, so why couldn't we maybe find something in the middle there? And I actually realized a lot of it is really not necessarily about pay. It is about the in-school supports, the hiring of new teachers. And they said, well, we'll hire 3,000 teachers. And the thing that I have an issue with is I read an article, I forget who wrote it. I wish I'd been a little more research in this, but they basically said with the rate that Alberta is growing from interprovincial migration and stuff like that, you have to hire 1,000 teachers a year just to keep up with the rate of growth of new students entering the system. So if you're proposing 3,000 teachers over the next 3 years, you're only keeping up with the growth of the student population. You're not catching up to the problems that have happened over the last, let's call it, decade.
And the ATA has put those infographics out to show people that 1,000 teachers a year if you were to evenly distribute it, which it is not linear, it does not work that way, and it's still very much up to the boards to determine where those teachers are being allocated. It equates to 0.7 teachers in some buildings, 1.2 in other buildings, and that will address some things, but we're in dire straits. That would just start to chip away and bring us back to a point where we have maybe manageable, reasonable class sizes, but that's over time. All these kids that are in grade 9, 10, 11 right now,
They're not going to benefit.
They're not going to benefit from this at all. We have so much shit to dig out of, and you're right, it'll just keep us on par, and par right now is a really bad way. It's awful. Yeah. It's a terrible situation, and so it's not enough. We're being so clear, and it also doesn't address the fact that there isn't this pool to draw from. We don't have 3,000 qualified, ready to go pre-service teachers.
Where are you getting these people
where
from?
Are these fucking people coming from?
Yeah.
They're not going to jump ship from these other provinces that don't have the same problems that we are experiencing in Alberta. They have good jobs. They have jobs where their class sizes are manageable, where they are seeing support, where their resources are newer than 1996, where they don't have a convoluted, fucking politically motivated curriculum redesign that cost millions and millions of dollars that is just trying to go and say that, hey, some people think flat earth theory is a thing, and that's okay because that's the base we're fucking playing to. It's so fucking wild. Yeah. It's crazy. Those teachers don't exist.
No. And it also, in my opinion, it also doesn't account for people that are leaving the profession.
Tons.
You go
Droves.
you go to the schools, and it's not just people that are retiring out. It's people who have worked 5 years in the profession and said, I can't fucking do this anymore. I look at my daughter's class, and she actually just got moved to a new class because the board got funding to hire a new teacher. And it was supposed to start tomorrow. So anyway,
Perfect timing.
On Friday, she moved her desk to this new classroom, and it TBD when she'll actually get to actually work with that new teacher. But that is a positive step. Her classroom size got reduced. But the one previously, she talks about some of the kids in her class, and I'm like, well, these kids have like incredible learning issues, and there's no EA in that room with the teacher, and she tells me these stories, and I'm like, this child unfortunately probably shouldn't even be in that classroom. They have, I don't know if they're autistic or what, but they have some type of behavioral disorder that is way beyond the capacity of a teacher with 24 other grade 2 students in her classroom trying to educate every single day.
It's impossible.
And so I'm like, this is, that lady, I'm like, after this year, she's not going to want to be in the profession anymore if she even still wants to be. Like, this is crazy. When
they talk about kids falling through the cracks, those are the kids we're talking about. And I've done this math before. I think even on our last episode we talked about this. But, I got a class of 30. 14 or 15 of those kids are on individualized learning programs. Another handful of them are English acquisition learners. They're here from another country. Obviously, they're enrolled in school. They need extensive intervention to get them up to speed, not just immersion, to get them up to speed to be able to learn our curriculums. I'm not trained to do that. I can't do that. We don't have people in the building that can offer that type of support. I don't have the capacity to differentiate for these students on individualized learning programs. And meanwhile, that's not accounting for the kids who are on the spectrum. That's not accounting for the kids who are oppositional defiant. That's not accounting for the kids who have such severe ADHD that they need to be watched almost the entire time to get the most fulfilling experience in that classroom that they can. It's impossible. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen on any scale. And there is one single high yield affect that has been out for years now to improve that, and it's ratio. We just need more people. We need more people to kind of stop those kids from falling through, to be able to pull them from class. And we're going to teach you English, pull them from class, teach them how to read. I've got illiterate students in the 6th and 7th grade. When do I have time? When do I have time to go and take a step back from algebra, take a step back from geometry to say hey, let's go do phonics?
The curriculum you're trying to teach is the prerequisite of that is that they've learned to read
full
prior
barrier
to being into your classroom.
Full barrier, yeah. And so we're failing them. We're failing them en masse. I have seen in 10 years of teaching. I think because sometimes I can just get I can go off and talk about things that really. Maybe I'm the opposite of some of these people running for council. I'll just tell you, in 10 years. And you got to account for COVID, that was a major disruption, but the ability of students is about 2 years removed from where it started. So when I was teaching grade 7 in 2015 or 2016, those 7s now, right, compared to teacher, I got to be very careful. I'm trying to word this without getting myself in trouble. Compared to the same age group, the same cohort now, they would have had about 2 years more ability in terms of curriculum.
So what you're saying is you're kind of effectively teaching grade 5s a grade 7 curriculum right now.
I would be teaching grade 7s a grade 5 curriculum. That's how capable they are. Whereas 10 years ago, I was teaching them this. Now I'm teaching them this. They're that much less able to do that type of content. That program of studies is no longer appropriate. Hasn't even been addressed. My students currently, if I was able to use a sports analogy, I'm going to take the NHL All-Stars from 2000 and they're going to play the NHL All-Stars from 2010, that sort of vibe. The student all-stars from 2000 are going to wipe the 2010s off the fucking map. It's not even close.
Right.
It's not even close. I can't even teach the same sorts of things. I have to modify curriculum because my kids' understanding is not anywhere near where it should be. It's just gone. They haven't had the same opportunities. They haven't had the same amount of support. They haven't had the same amount of instruction. They're still using the same resources. Or they're using, like I said, these convoluted, politically motivated, redesigned resources that just serve nobody. No one wants them, and they're super expensive. But yeah, they're the students year over year, year over year. I think the least eloquent way to put it is kids are dumber year over year. Every year, they're less able. And it's not their fault. And it's not their family's fault. And it's fucking not my fault.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything
You're getting
I
them
can.
the level that they're at.
Yeah,
right?
I'm doing everything I can. But yeah, I don't teach any of the same stuff that I used to teach because the kids that are in my classroom can't handle it. They can't do it. They've never seen it before.
Wow.
Yeah. And so this strike is huge. This strike is it is very much at a breaking point. And it isn't about money. I'll clarify that. I'll say that personally. I was never unhappy with the wage offer. Never.
And that's what I've heard from a lot of other teachers is that the wage offer was that's not the sticking point.
Do I think it's wild that in the time I've been teaching, even this 12% will not even come close to matching inflation? That is wild, but I think a lot of people are faced with that.
I think that's a greater societal problem.
Yeah, I think everyone is
a lot of people
making
experience
less
that.
money.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I'm getting year over year, I essentially get paid less to do the same job.
Yep.
Because
and
of inflation.
that's not uncommon. I mean, the minimum wage has been the same since when did the NDP increase it? 2017?
We're now in Alberta with the lowest minimum wage again.
And you know, we had a
country.
couple of years during COVID there where inflation was running at double digits.
Yeah.
Right. So if minimum wage was actually attached to inflation, I mean, we all should be making 30-40% more than we were pre-COVID, honestly.
Yeah. So it's not keeping up with that. And no industry is, public sector or not, education or not. We just that's you nailed it. That is the society. There are bigger things happening. However, I was satisfied with that amount of increase, but what isn't expressly addressed, like they refuse to not only put it in language to cap class sizes and put it in language to specify around complexities in the classroom. And when I say complexities, because a lot of people, it's a buzzword in the media right now, complexities refers to those students that I said who are on individualized learning programs, that they have significant barriers to their learning other than what would be, you know, your normative social promotion. These kids are 12, they should all learn the same thing. You know, that's a complexity. You know, there's no language about that at all, not addressed. And the government has not even been keeping data, on class size and complexity since 2019. They don't even fucking know how big some of these classes are. Mm-hmm. Like they're just like, I don't even know what they're basing their fucking information on. They're just like, hey, based on vibes, based on the unit deal, this makes sense. Based on how hard everything else is in the province, this makes sense. Well, that's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
You know,
like if only we had elected somebody to like look at some of this shit.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the end game is. I think for the strike, I could see us getting legislated back to work.
I think that's probably going to happen, unfortunately. I think they'll probably leave it for a couple weeks, but if nothing's done...
Well, they'd have to call an emergency sitting.
Yeah.
Like the legislature doesn't... Like they're not in there till the end of the month.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
They talk about teachers'
Oh,
pay.
fuck.
Fucking go look up
Call
how
off
much
your strike. They're getting
go look up
paid
how much
to
your
not-
MLA's pay got increased last year. Just it was double digits, by the way.
And they're not in session.
And they're not in session. They work fucking 100 days a year.
Yeah. So LOL on that. So they can actually do that writing until they sit again. But when they do, they could legislate us back to work, and then we would at that point it most likely be a work to rule scenario.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that. And then we'll end up in binding arbitration and hopefully get the best deal, not for us, but for kids. You know, we'll hopefully get as much as possible. And in a third-party binding arbitration, at least then, and this is a hope, this is a fingers crossed, at least then that third party would and should look at other provinces.
And data.
Yeah, and data and say, whoa, okay, right, this province is way behind. These numbers are huge, and it'll bring us closer to doing something significant. That's where I see it going. Yeah, but in the meantime, like, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
It's
again, if you guys do get legislated back, like you said, it's gonna be work to rule. So even these kids that, you know, you just mentioned you were coaching volleyball this weekend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry.
That's not gonna happen.
That's what I meant to touch on. So you talk about school experience. If we have to go back to work to rule, you know, a lot of these schools just function as safe places for children to go.
Yep.
And that's okay. You know, that's kind of all we're accomplishing right now. aside from the efforts to learn and communicate curriculum, one thing schools do provide is a safe place to be, and an environment that kids feel an attachment to, and people that they have relationships with, whether it be other students or adults in the building. It's a space where kids can come and be themselves and kind of grow up. When you take away the extracurricular things like sports, like band camp, like student council, whatever it is, anything like that, you erode that community, and kids feel less attachment. There's less reason for them to feel a belonging at school.
Yeah.
So we're essentially going back into a position with even less tools, and kids will have, fewer reasons to want to be there and to feel included.
Yeah.
And
If you're a kid and your thing is football, and that's what gets you in the building every day.
Oh yeah.
And that's no longer there. That's a problem. What's the fucking point of going, right?
How many kids only went to school in high school because of sports?
Yeah, or hang out with your friends. I know
See your friends.
I know a huge part of me going
to be in main stage, to be in.
I was going to say a big thing for me was being able to go to drama.
Yep.
That was what I looked forward to every single day, and I was good in school, but knowing I had drama fourth period, and I got to see all my buddies, and Geese and I got to work on the 2-man play we were doing. That got me through math. That got me through social studies. That got me through English. It got me through all those things, knowing that was the highlight at the end of my day. For some people, that's sports. And I think of these kids who, you're playing football at the comp, and your goal is to hopefully go play university ball. Maybe get a small scholarship or something. That's potentially taken away from you.
There's other ones. I was thinking sports is pretty myopic or my experience, because it doesn't describe a lot of what kids are in. There's a ton of kids at school that are like, I fucking hate sports. But this work to rule that would do away with GSA, like your gay straight alliance. There's a lot of kids who are living in at home. They can't express themselves. They can't have those conversations. They don't have the skills or the toolbox. They come to school, and there's a safe place for them. Yep. We have a Dungeons and Dragons club that runs on Tuesdays, Thursdays. Kids come to school just to do that. Those are gone. Those are out the window. That's what work to rule means. So it's about to get way, way worse if that's what's going to happen.
And if you're a kid that already didn't like school,
yeah,
you might just stay home.
We just talked about
that that's the right thing to do, but
we just talked about the motivation as 21-year-olds.
Yeah. You're asking 12-year-olds.
You're asking 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds to go and just and do it because we're saying it's good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking right.
Last thing I want to talk about the school, the whole strike thing. Fucking Bruce McAllister, that fucking bag of trash.
Oh,
and his
that
Alberta
clip
Next
at the
panel.
Alberta Next panel,
where he cut off the kid and said he needs to be spanked.
And I tried to be objective. I had to go because when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is who we're fighting against. This is the bad guy right now.
Yeah.
This is the fucking people that we are trying to bargain with and trying to come to terms with. But I did want to go and say okay, what was the type of questions that were supposed to be asked? And that kid, I think is Evan Lee. Is that his name?
I think I can't remember his last name, but it was Evan. Yeah, he posted on Reddit.
Yeah, he posted the question, and his question was really well worded.
It was an incredibly intelligent question, actually, for a kid in school to introduce me to information that I was previously not aware of. I consider myself to be fairly well read, fairly knowledgeable of the situation.
Yeah.
And when I saw him post what he wanted to ask on Reddit, I was like, I didn't know any of this.
So from what I understand, that question was out of context for that specific conversation. And I'm trying to throw him a bone. I'm trying to be
You're trying to play both sides.
I'm not trying to play both sides.
Well, no, but you're being you're devil's advocate a little bit.
I'm just saying, it doesn't, and it never comes up that, hey, this is what the conversation was, and that kid kind of took his shot. Okay, that aside, it's a child, an incredibly well-spoken child who
wanted to be engaged
in the situation, and to fucking cut his mic, yeah. But then to cut his mic and then tell him that he should have been hit more as a fucking, your parents should have hit you more. And I'm paraphrasing. For asking questions. I'm paraphrasing. He actually, Bruce McAllister actually said, your parents should have turned you over your knee.
Yeah, he fucked up his burn.
Yeah, read a book, you
what
fucking ding dong. Yeah, fuck him. But to have that type of response, I appreciate that you're here to speak. I don't appreciate how you're trying to speak, and just shut him down. Shut the fuck up. You're a kid. Your opinion is worthless. You should get hit more. It was insane. It was insane. And I actually loved, you can hear the outrage. You can hear, I think it's the lady behind him waiting to ask a question being like, no,
that's
rude.
fucking rude.
That's fucking, you're dismissing a teenager. Yeah. Like, they don't give a shit. They don't want to hear.
No.
They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear from us.
And like you said, if the question was out of context, you say, hey, that's not what we're talking about right now, so we're going to shut your mic off, but we'd encourage you when we do get to that subject to come back and ask your question.
Yeah.
Do it in a respectful way.
Certainly.
Don't be like, hey, and he said, your question doesn't make any sense. Well, I guess in the greater context of like if you were having a different conversation, sure. But to say your question doesn't make any sense, well, you didn't let him ask the question. Nobody knows if it made sense or not because we didn't get to hear it. And then, to effectively say he needs to be beat more, like that's where your head went. That's just like, I was like, oh, okay, so this is who we're dealing with right now at your fucking panels, and then people went back and found all these clips of them cutting off people's mics.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a very common thing. If you are not on board with the Alberta Next panel, don't even go grab the mic because they're not going to let you ask your fucking question.
And the kid's question was about private school funding. For the 400,
and this is the information that I was completely unaware of.
About the $450 million and change this year that has gone to private schools, which only service roughly 5% of school-age children.
And isn't it
in
something
Alberta.
like 70% of the total budget?
It's a huge number. I don't want to spit numbers because I'd be making them up. I'd be talking about what I ask, but it's a massive number. It's a huge amount of funding, and there is, to get just a little tinfoil hattie here, that's what's really happening is they want to abolish the public system and push towards privatization. And then what you're going to have is you're going to have this class system where people who can will because they can afford to, and people who can't won't. And they'll be subject to these like dumpster fucking schools. But wait, the government won't let that happen. They're not going to just put Alberta citizens out in the cold and just, hey, if you're poor, you can't have access to education. So what they'll do is they'll subsidize private education. And they'll fucking fill their friends' pockets with cash.
Yep.
And they'll fund schools that play by their rules and teach the things they want to teach. And they'll control the fucking curriculum. And you'll have some fucking crazy right-wing Christian nut out in the boonies at some wild fucking private school teaching whatever they want. And that's going to be okay. Yep. Like, it's so fucking dangerous. It's so incredibly dangerous.
And as you said, it's going to create a class system. And the class system, I mean, it already exists to a degree. But, I mean, I consider I have a very good job. My wife has a good job. We are very lucky. I would say we have above average means if you were to look at Alberta as a whole. I can't afford to send my kids to fucking Strathcona Tweedsmuir. Sorry. I got 2 kids, once you factor in tuition and all the extracurriculars they do there, you're looking at 30 to 40 grand a kid per year. So I'm sorry, I can't afford that. That's my wife's entire salary pre-tax for those 2 kids. Right. Like, and so you're going to have a class system that is literally the top 1% of Alberta and then everybody else. It's not going to be this upper, middle, lower class. It's going to be the wealthiest among us. And then everybody else gets the shit sandwich.
And like, if you're listening to this,
if you're listening to this and you haven't like taken up a torch yet,
honestly, get out your pitchfork. You have kids. I was just at a birthday party before I came here, and there was like a bunch of other teachers there, and that was kind of the most what stuck with me because we're all talking about the strike and we're all talking about the problems in school. Like, how can they not know? How is this not getting communicated? I feel like it is getting communicated. And maybe our union bosses aren't doing a good job. Maybe the government, who should fucking know and should be keeping data on these things, just actually doesn't know about what the experience in schools are. But one thing that got said by a colleague of mine, and it was like, yeah, he said, I would never want my kids going to the school I teach at, and I feel that way.
Yeah,
that I'm a cog in the system. I'm doing the best I can. I'd be mortified for my own children to come to my school and be students there,
which is horrifying.
That's horrifying. I would never want them to go there. I would want them to go to private school. We've looked at private school, and we're in the same boat as you. Like the discount ones are still around $4,000 a year, and that's before you get into anything else. That's a ton of money.
Yeah.
STS, you said, I think it starts at like 16, and
that's for your base tuition.
And everything you do costs money. Every field trip, anything you join, like they say the rule of thumb is about double it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about $32,000 for a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old to be in school. No, it's crippling.
Yeah.
It can never happen.
Yeah. So anyway, the education system is collapsed. I will say, if we're gonna wrap it up, I don't want this to get too long. I will say the one thing that I feel positive about is the people that I've had conversations with, other parents that pick up at the school or whatever, people on social media. It seems like everybody is very much like on the side of the teachers. It feels like there is a coalescing of support behind what I would argue is the correct side of this disagreement. And so I feel like the government has a real uphill battle, and they're about to find out this week just how fucking bad it's going to be, because their phones are going to be ringing. Your local MLAs are going to be hearing from you. If you have the time, take time to write them or call them or send an email, whatever, because they need to feel this. They need to feel that the people that they've been elected to represent are not feeling represented. And I think that people are on the same page about this.
That is the vibe I get.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of people, either sending an email, bringing a box of Timbits, and just saying like, "Hey, we're with you. This is fucking crazy." Ask more of your politicians, and if you've got a school-aged child and they've had a hard time in school, yes, write your fucking MLA.
Yep.
If your student, if your kid is not getting the support they need, if they're having a bad time in school, or if your loved ones are teachers and they've shared some of the things that I've shared, like, yeah, that is what they've. I was. It's always tough for me to talk about this stuff because I'm always like, who's listening? But one of the things the ATA has said is like, share your story. Yeah. Share your story. Things are so bad. I don't know how long I can do it.
Even if they get this fixed this week. Yeah. Like, let's say they get there, they hash it out, they get it fixed this week. Ultimately, like, this is expectation setting wise, this is a problem that's going to take years and years to fix.
Yeah.
This is a problem that my oldest will probably not actually see any tangible benefits from until maybe middle school. Maybe my youngest will actually get to experience the school system the way it's supposed to be, the way that you and I experience it.
Yeah. Fucking love school.
Yeah. And I will also add, because they put me on their show on the 18th, Vinyl Cafe and Lounge is offering free coffee for teachers.
Yeah.
They put that out on their
Tool Shed's doing free beers.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. So lots of places are small businesses that, are a big part of our communities. So take your school ID if you're a teacher, get some free coffee, get some free beer, whatever. And let's fight the good fight.
Fuck yeah. Do you need an assistant?
I just got an assistant. I actually did just get one.
Are you hiring? I bug my father-in-law all the time. He's got a really great job. He excels at what he does. And he's really highly regarded. And so he comes back, how is this they call him checks on these big jets, and he's kind of he's the guy. He makes sure when these planes come out of service that they go through and they do everything that needs to be done so they can get back flying routes safely and efficiently, and he does that for them. And I'm like, okay, you got a really high profile job now, and people, like I said, they look to you. He's in demand. Just tell the next company that's seeking your services, like, also, I'm going to need a condo. I'm going to need, a per diem, and you got to hire me a plane boy. I don't know what a plane boy does, but I just feel like I can be there to help out.
You could be there to turn some nuts or something.
No, that they would never let me touch the plane. Yeah,
you could be there with a clipboard.
Yeah.
There's nepotism in all levels of corporate activity. Like, they can spare a little extra money.
My dad's a cop. I'm like, you put in a good word for me.
Yeah.
He's like, you could never.
Man, that's another crazy thing. The city of Calgary, they came out and like a huge amount of their workforce, the police
off
force,
work.
They're off work.
Yeah.
Due to a lot of the same issues that teachers are dealing with, like they're dealing with these insurmountable public safety issues. A lot of them have injuries, but a lot of them are, it's mental health issues and stuff like that. And it's like, well, fucking get back to work. Like your union negotiated this. I see people all the time make this point. Oh, I wish my job gave me a 5% increase. And I'm like, well, get a new fucking job. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But just because somebody else is getting something, like any benefit you have as a worker in today's world, whether you're unionized or not, came from unions. There used to be a time where instead of your children going to school and talking about how many EAs are in a classroom, it was like, no, they're going to actually chimney sweep or work in the mines. And they were, like there's no safety mechanisms for them. So like, yeah, have the back of these unions, because that will flow through the rest of society, right? And historically speaking, that has proven itself to be true. So don't say, oh, well, my job didn't give me a raise. Well, sorry that your job fucking sucks. Okay. Like, get a different job. But that doesn't mean that you have to be a fucking scab and fucking shit on everybody that's trying to fight for betterment in their own workplace.
Yeah, and you nailed it, man. Like it's happening everywhere, and it's a result of these like what's happening at a societal level. It's touching all of us, you know. And something's got to give. I don't know. That wasn't very fucking profound, but it's just like all these problems, everything we're seeing. You know, it starts with doing what's right for the next generation, and we're fucking them. We're fucking them on the environment. We're fucking them in the schools. We're fucking them in terms of public safety. We're fucking them.
Donald Trump's fucking him on a private island.
Tune in next time.
All right, have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.